The K63 wireless mechanical gaming keyboard from Corsair can connect to your computer via ultra-fast 1 millisecond 2.4 GHz wireless technology or low latency Bluetooth, and features per key blue LEDs, 15 hours of gameplay on a single charge, and genuine Cherry MX switches. It's lapboard ready too, so click the sponsor link in the description for more information.
Excellent!
Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I'm going to start off by getting some toothpaste. Toothpaste. Must find toothpaste. Toothpaste. Aha. Should I get a 2-pack? Probably okay with just one. Can't decide between Radiant Mint and Arctic Fresh. Gotta go with Arctic Fresh. I did find this. I'm trying to replace the cleaning supplies I might use for this project and not have to use stuff that I might actually also use on dishes at home. Mission accomplished. Yay, target. Alright, so we got all the stuff here. I'm going to go over that in just a second, but more to the point, what's this video about? If you guys saw me taking all my computers apart, you probably saw me disassembling Arctic Panther, which I built originally about 3 years ago, and then I rebuilt again about 8 months ago, and now I am cleaning the residue that has built up from the liquid that I was using in the loop, which was Primo Chill View Fluid, which looks really cool, but as Jay found, and I have now found, if you're using it long term, especially if you're using the early stuff, some of the original stuff they sent out, you're going to get some buildup and some gunk in the blocks. So we got to clean that stuff out, and that is why I needed toothpaste, of course, among a few other things here. So the toothpaste, first and foremost, is specifically recommended by Jay. I went with Arctic Fresh because Arctic Panther, that makes sense. And it says some whitening in it, and Jay just found that specifically with the Primo Chill View buildup that he had in there, cleaning the blocks themselves, this actually did a really good job at getting the gunk out of there, as well as cleaning off the residue that might even be left over. I grabbed a few other things, some bristle brushes here to clean out where residue might be built up, and I don't have to use anything that we currently use for dishes or like stuff that we eat out of, trying to keep that separate. Along the same lines there, I got a glass measuring container here, and that is so I can use the Mayhans Blitz kit. I also grabbed a couple of these just little $2 bins. These are just so I can use them as temporary reservoirs for liquid as I'm setting up a loop to cycle through the Mayhans Blitz kit. Speaking of, that is right here. It's a cleaning kit, uses detergent, and this is going to take like 12 hours to actually cycle through. So I'm going to set up all the cleaning today, and then I'm going to come back with a part 3 video where I actually have the cleaned products and I reinstall everything in Arctic Panther, and chances are I'm also going to be redoing at least a few of these bends, if not all of them. Here's the majority of the water cooling stuff that I've removed, and that still needs to be rinsed off a little bit. And then the parts that I need to clean out today are going to be the pump and reservoir combo, and I'm going to set this up with the Mayhans cleaning kit to cycle through both of these two radiators. I have a 240mm and a 260mm radiator, and inside of these radiators there's definitely more residue built up, and I want to make sure I can clean that all out so that when I actually refill this with just water, because that's what I'm going to do from now on, is just water so I can use it long term, I will get no discoloration or little bits of stuff floating through the loop, which is probably going to happen anyway, but I'll do my best to eliminate that. Apart from the cleaning loop to be set up there, I am going to be disassembling my blocks, the 2 GPU blocks as well as the mono block for the CPU and power delivery, and I'll be giving both of those a good scrub out once again with the Crest 3D White toothpaste that Jay recommended. Now, the only parts I was really missing in order to accomplish all of these tasks is going to be some fittings for my tubing that I have back there, because I need to do some external loops in and out of stuff so I can cycle fluid through. And for that, I sent Joe on a mission to Micro Center this morning, and there he is. Good job, Joe. What's in the bag? First, a SwiftTech MCP35X pump. This is just an external pump with G.skill fittings that I can use whenever I need a pump, and I'm never going to actually install this in a system. It's just going to be my pump to use when I need a pump. And lastly, and perhaps most importantly, is going to be the actual fittings. Since I have lots of hardline fittings here, but no soft tubing fittings, I had Joe grab a set of these. He was supposed to get 8. He brought 7. It's okay. I'm not going to blame him for that. But these will allow me to get some easier to work with loops set up externally with my existing Primo Chill Flex tubing, which is 3/8 inch inner diameter and 1/2 inch outer diameter. And the mono block is now disassembled. We can see the interior parts where there is, oh my gosh, so much buildup in here. That's pretty nasty. Especially right over here where the jet plate is. Like, that's really clogged in there. So I hope the toothpaste can do a good job here to clean that stuff out. Before anything else, we're going to give these a quick rinse. the O-rings here, the gasket. It's very important. I don't think there was one right there, because it's a different size. Right? There doesn't need to be one there, does there?
So aside from like doing small favors like picking up fittings and crap for Pa, and then dig through the garbage disposal for a damn O-ring.
This is entirely Joe's own decision to do. I didn't order him to do this. I didn't threaten that he would be fired and never edit videos for me ever again. He just shoved his hand at my garbage disposal.
Trying to get Employee of the Month. I got it.
Damn, Joe. Wow. Alright, so Joe is Employee of the Month. He fished out the O-ring. Well done, Joe. Thank you. So the top of the monoblock here seems to be doing pretty good. It doesn't seem to have a whole lot of residue built up on top of it or anything. But I did decide that I wanted to pull the gasket out, the O-ring, and just give it a wipe down to make sure anything that had built up on that was cleaned off, and also went through the little channel here around the outside. And this thing's looking, well, not quite new, but definitely a lot fresher than it was. GPU block number 1 has been disassembled. We can again see plenty of residue up in there. It's not going to look quite as nasty as the CPU block in here, I don't think, but we can still see a very similar pattern here of residue that is actually built up underneath the little jet plate here. And of course, anything like that that's impeding the flow of the liquid across those particular fins in general is a big no-no, so I'm going to clean that out the same way we did the CPU block. These are the terminals for the end of the GPUs, and they are pretty caked up with residue, so I'm going to clean these out too. Also going to remove these little oval O-rings so I can clean out the gunk underneath those. Best not to use a knife or something really sharp for this type of thing because you really don't want to cut the O-ring, but don't worry, as many of you have noted, my knife here is not sharp at all. The reason flexible tubing with fittings is very useful for something like this is anytime you need to flush a radiator, get water in and out of something, a component, just having the flexible tubing is a lot more flexible for that. So.
More piss jokes are coming, I'm sure.
Now let's move on to the Mayhans Blitz cleaning kit, which contains a warning right off the bat. It contains phosphoric acid that can burn your skin and an irritant. So there's gloves and safety goggles right there. So other than the gloves and the safety goggles, this is what's included in the kit. This is part 1, the cleaner. This is part 2, which you use to flush it afterwards. They've got a measuring cup here so you can measure the proper amounts of that you mix with water. It's got a pH testing kit that you can use afterwards to measure the pH levels in your loop and make sure nothing has gone incredibly awry. And just to reiterate, there is a detergent that's used in here, so you really do want to use the gloves and safety goggles while you're using this. Safety first. This is the outfit that you should wear if you're doing this type of work.
You actually look like a minion.
Alright, so based on the Mayhans Blitz kit description in here, as well as what I actually experienced when I was flushing these out, the part 1 is for removing rust and scale and balancing out the pH levels. And actually didn't have a lot of stuff coming out of these when I was doing it. Part 2 is an actual flush. So I'm going to go with part 2 treatment for now, and you can use this multiple times since there's enough in there to do multiple dilutions, so I can come back and do that part 1 if it's still necessary. So here's our Blitz kit 2-loop power supply over here to power the pump. Pump is going to be with the reservoir full of the Blitz kit 2 stuff, which is going to go in there in just a second. Outlet goes over here into radiator 1, out of that and into radiator 2, out of that and then back into the reservoir.
Little accident, no big deal.
It's all good.
It's just water. That's supposedly suggests you to wear protective gear and stuff, but it's alright.
Ah, it's
just soap, right, Paul?
It's cleaning stuff. That just wasn't quite tight enough. I'm hoping I can tighten it down and that'll fix it. Well guys, back at the beginning of this video, I think there was one key ingredient to this whole project that I did not list off and include, and that is patience. That's right, because this Mayhans Blitz Kit 2 solution that we're cycling through pretty much our whole loop here needs to cycle through there for about 12 hours, actually 12 to 24 hours. And as mentioned, there is a Blitz Kit 1 as well that I decided not to do simply because the radiators were flushing out fairly well with just the plain water. We have gotten a lot done today though. Got the blocks completely cleaned out. That was a lot of work, but they actually cleaned up pretty nicely. Just a little bit of discoloration in there where the nickel-plated copper was actually getting a lot of liquid flowing over it, but that's pretty normal for blocks that have been in use for a little while. So I'm going to let this run for about the next 12 to 24 hours, so I'll probably cut it off sometime tomorrow, and then I have a bunch of stuff planned this weekend. But then, it's Friday right now, Joe's coming back on Monday, and we're going to finish this off, and we're going to put everything back in, and I'm going to rebend the tubes, and we're going to get Arctic Panther back up and running. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. This has been, I guess, part 2 of Arctic Panther's rehabilitation one more time. So thanks for watching, and I'll put some links to the stuff I've used today down in this video's description. Of course, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next time.